Circus number 3. I'm a kEmAliSt. One thing that becomes apparent when you read Nurcu, aside from the sheer historic value for the early republican days of Turkey, is the fact that Atatürk was a die-hard nationalist. He valued Turkish culture and identity and took pride in its traditions. He wished for the unity of his people and believed in the potential they have. And yet, he did not discourage anyone of becoming a Turk, despite the harsh times Anatolia was in. He saw potential in his people. He believed in them. And if you read more into the ideological side of the Young Turks, the origin he is from, you will also notice that he was relatively, let's say, science driven. After all, this is a man who said, if one day my words are against science, choose science. And regardless of this quote actually being from Atatürk or not, it is well known among kEmAliSts. In fact, the science-driven mentality is the reason why a huge chunk, if not the majority of kEmAliSts, are atheists or deists or agnostic in Turkey. Atatürk, at least for his die-hard admirer, is the pinnacle of a progressive man. There are obviously different understandings of what a progressive man is, but at the bare bone minimum we can all agree that such a man is fact-driven, not emotional, maybe not necessarily empathic, but at the very least not hateful, and maybe with patience, at the very least not full of bigotry. And with bigotry I mean that a conversation is not started with insults or ad hominem. I already showed that the sub is not fact-driven and that the unity among the Turkish people is sacrificed in order to feel superior. Slandering Almancıs based on some videos of a few Almancıs going nuts is not fact-driven, and it is definitely not the fundament of kEmalism, which is all for unity. Alienating Turks in Europe goes against the very foundation and philosophy of Atatürk, and likewise denying people to be part of the Turkish society is equally against the fundaments of this nation. Ne mutlu Türk'üm diyene should not be taken lightly. But I want to show more in regards to how these progressive kEmalistic Western Democrats actually are. These are all posts that are available that did not get moderated or are entirely accepted as they are in our Turkey. And before I start with this, I want to point out again that the Turkish society and these incels are two different things. These incels might be part of the Turkish society, but they do not translate to Turkey being like that. As an example, and this is from the very sub our Turkey as well, but even there people are entirely unaware of what they are saying or implying. Unfortunately, most Arabs and Pakis act like they are in their own country, not only implying ill behavior for all of them, and of course this is also based on the divine ass, but that's not the topic here. Problems are topic like these. When the HKP is gone, can we push all the debt to people that are part of the party for at least 10 years? Now you might ask yourself what the problem with that is. It is in fact that it's not based on democratic fundamentals. It never was. It's all about humiliating a specific part of the Turkish people. It's about sadistic pleasure. But the HKP did a lot of harm to Turkey. And yes, I can agree with that, but not everything they have done is bad for the country. For instance, I can get behind their green energy policy, which made Turkey one of the largest producers of green energy on the world. I can get behind their infrastructure projects, which just include public buildings such as hospitals. I'm also aware that not all of their projects make much sense, such as the third bridge in Istanbul, but I dare to say that most of it is fine. There are also constitutional changes such as the normalization of being Kurdish, being able to air and consume Kurdish media, or the fact that religious people are not denied entry to public buildings just because they have a headscarf. At the very least, I'm for a presidential system, but not the way it was implemented by the HKP. However, and that is the point, not every single bit of the HKP is just bad and evil. You have no respect for the decision of your people with the idea of punishing them. I would understand if this was about corrupt HKP politicians or corruption in general, which is not just a problem among government politicians, but all political parties. This is solely and only about discouraging and taking revenge on a group of people for disagreeing with their political decisions and ideology. But they are all radical Islamists, and we yet have to see an Islamist constitutional change. These weird topics are, by the way, not unique occurrences, as you can for example see here. Is the life of your citizen worth more than the life of a foreigner? The question itself is not visible anymore, but the comments are, and you can see from comments like these what kind of effed up mentality is actually present. By the way, this is not the only type of comment as it should have been, since comments like yes are equally present. And if you want more visible stuff, here we go. A graph comparing the word suicide and hobby on Google search done in Germany and in Turkey. The implication is that you can't follow any hobbies in Turkey and that suicide is higher as a result of it. However, suicide rates are in fact higher in Germany by a factor of effing 5. Not to mention comments like these. I can get behind saying that certain hobbies require more financial investments and as such are not viable for your average youth, but you can't possibly tell anyone sane that you can't play any games related to any kind of balls, that you can't do sport, that you can't read, that you can't play board games, that you can't go on a walk, that you can't go on an internet cafe to play video games. I guess everyone in most of Africa are all taking their lives, and Africa is this gigantic wasteland with no human lives. And it is not just this lazy behavior attitude that is infuriating, but also the attitude displayed at innocent people. A person is asking to legally enter Turkey and just wants to mind his own business. No, man, we're gonna send all Arabs back regardless of their legal status. Don't come, man, we hate you all. You don't like a specific potential candidate in the opposition and don't want to give your vote for him? Stop being stupid. You either vote government or opposition. You're not allowed to feel frustrated about any potential candidate. People are destroying plants to take pictures for Instagram in the park in Fatih, and people are destroying the Hagia Sophia. They must be HKP voters. That's definitely the case, 100% proven. There's an international crisis. Man, these diaspora Turks, they are effing weak. Why are they not lobbying for us? Someone asked what conservatives think about other Muslim countries and you gave your personal view. How dare you? You're delusional. We hate them all. You're an Islamist. You have a random question about Turkey? Did you know that I, alongside of millions of other people, would be happy to make millions of my own people to second-class citizen? You tried to enter Turkey legally from Somalia for a visa, but it didn't work out, so you're stuck in the country and you keep losing money. So you're asking a question to seek help? F off! You have the audacity to come here from Somalia? Legally? How dare you? Don't mind the bigotry and racism because clearly that's not breaking the rules of the sub. You said that Turkey is physically in the Middle East? You have to be a Sharia supporting Arab. But hey guys, at the very least, you should take the right to vote off those that are not working. These are all posts I engaged in the last 2 months. In the last 2 months alone, roughly from March 2022 up until May 2022, these posts were shared on our Turkey. And I have a history of 2 years on that subreddit. There is 2 years worth of nonsense I can show. 2 effing years. There are 2 last topics I would like to engage in, but for now let's summarize what we have figured out so far. People are lazy. Having no hobby is excused with government bad. People hate everything Arabic because Arabs are bad. People hate Islam because Islam bad. People hate their own people because they are bad. People hate facts because how dare you state the obvious, so they are bad. They do not share democratic values, they do not share kEmAliStic values.